Hey y'all, welcome back to another fun, exciting adventure. Today what we're going to be doing is building a custom cast iron wall. Not really a whole wall, it's just going to be a partial wall. But we're going to be using this really fancy looking rustic barn wood that I got from a home improvement store that shall remain nameless but may or may not be Home Depot. So first thing we're going to do is lay it out on the floor just to kind of get a good idea of what we're looking at, how much area this is going to cover. I know the size of the partial wall that we're going to be doing. I know what that size is, so we're going to lay it out on the floor and just make sure that it's going to fit and work right. So if this is all that you wanted to do, these are 8-foot sections. You could just do it just like that. This is shiplap, which means it has like some people may call it tongue and groove, which I don't think that's the same thing. But basically, one side has a cut piece on the bottom, the other side has a cut piece on the top, and obviously they just kind of lock into each other. So real simple, easy to work with. So obviously, this being a custom piece, that's not what we're going to leave it like. I just wanted to get it laid out just to kind of see what it was going to look like. Make sure it was going to be tall enough. Make sure it was going to be long enough, which obviously the length isn't changing. But make sure it was going to be tall enough to fit the area that I needed to cover. So originally I was under the impression these were 6-foot boards. When they say 6-inch boards rather, sorry. They're 8 feet long, but they're supposedly they're 6 inches wide, and that's not the case. So these are actually only 5.5, including that extra little piece. But all that you see that's showing after you lock them together is only 4 and like 7/8. So really, it's not even 5 inches, to be honest with you. But whatever. But originally the area that we were covering was 66 inches. So this lays out to be about 68 inches. What we're going to do is whatever top piece we're going to have, we're going to cut off that last little lip that's going to be showing, because obviously we don't want that. And it's going to be on top, so you'll never see it because it'll be too tall. So what we're going to do is we're going to cut these pieces up and kind of make them more random. This looks good, don't get me wrong, but I like it more custom, because that's kind of the whole thing. But what we're gonna do is we're just gonna cut random pieces. The one thing you got to be careful if you're gonna do that. One thing you got to be careful with is you want some uniformity, but you don't want it to be too uniform. And also, what you need to remember is, unless you're going to be covering the ends, when you cut this, it's bare wood on the inside. So you'll see, like when you cut it, it'll be like that color right there. Not even this color, but it'll be like that color. So if you want that color showing on the ends, that's fine. But just remember, when you cut it, that's what you're going to see is that end. So when I got to be careful when I do mine. I'm going to make sure that the ends, the factory ends, they kind of have that coating on it. So what I'm going to do is make sure that coating stays. I'm going to try my hardest to not cut that off, and make sure that I have every piece laid out correctly so that I don't have to worry about the ends showing and it being ugly. So if I do, we'll just get some brown paint or something and just kind of mask it a little bit. But hopefully we're going to not have to worry about that. So anyways, but this is turned out to be about 68 inches, I believe is what it was. 67 3/4. So that works out. It's a little bit taller. It's only 1 3/4 taller than I wanted, but that's okay. So my plan is we're going to take, I don't know if you can see that, but that plywood, there's 2 sheets of plywood there. What we're going to do is take we're going to take a sheet of plywood, and we're going to have to cut down the other one. And we're going to use that as the backing. So we're going to put the plywood on the wall first, and then we're going to put the shiplap on top of that. The reason we're doing that is because the shiplap, it's going to be holding a little bit of weight. Obviously, the shiplap itself is weight, and then the cast iron pots and stuff that are going to, or pans and all that are going to be on it, it's going to be weight as well. So I want to have something on the wall into the studs, knowing that they're in the studs. And then what we'll do is when we go to actually hang the pots and pans and all that stuff on the wall, we'll have them screwed into the plywood. So probably a little over-engineered, and I'm probably thinking about it a lot. Weight's probably too hard, but like I said, I just want to make sure that it's going to hold. Obviously, I don't want nothing falling off the wall. That would be very bad for business. So, and this is all, by the way, this is going in my house, so definitely don't want this stuff falling. Even though the boards aren't exactly 6 inches wide like the price tag suggests, they are 8 foot long, like almost exactly. Some of them are just a little bit short, some of them are just a little bit long, but that's okay. We're going to be cutting these down into 2 foot sections, because if you do the math, 8 foot, you can divide 2 into 8 a couple of times. So we're going to cut these down in 2 foot sections, and then that'll kind of give us that broken up look that I prefer. And then even some of the 2 foot sections we'll break down even smaller, and get them down into, like, you know, some 16 inches, some 12, some 8. You know, we'll just bust them up a little differently, so that way nothing is uniform. We have a whole bunch of just random pieces. Some pieces we'll leave long. We don't want them all shorter than 2 inches, or we don't want them all two foot. I keep messing up my feet in inches. We don't want them all 2 inches. We want, or my God, I did it again. We don't want them all 2 feet. We'll bust them up, make some of them, you know, 3 foot, whatever. So but we have to make sure that whatever we end up doing, that it all equals 8 feet. So. Alright guys, so I went ahead and cut down all of the boards to a length, kind of randomly. I got a bunch of 2 foot pieces, some 1 foot pieces, 16-inch pieces. These are 4 foot sections, and I got 1 3 foot and 1 5 foot. I'm going to use my 5 foot piece kind of as a guide, as a kind of to start it all off. It's going to be randomly placed. I don't have to put it in the middle. You don't have to put it in the top. Just kind of put it randomly wherever you want. It doesn't really matter. So as long as the math works out to each piece being 8 foot long, it's going to be all right. Luckily also, by the way, I've got 3 pieces left over, 3 full sections left over. When you're using a miter saw, believe it or not, even though that blade is only like 1/8 of an inch thick, 1/8 of an inch takes up quite a bit over time, as you can tell. This one's 12 inches, and this one's just shy of 12 inches by about an inch, or maybe 1.5 inches or so. But that's because of the miter saw. So luckily, like I said, I've got 3 pieces left over for situations like this where it's not quite long enough and I need another piece. So I did keep all the end pieces separate. This is what I was talking about. This end piece is really ugly, so this is probably a bad example to use, but that's the end piece and that's a cut piece. You see the difference there? So that's what I mean. So there's been a slight change of plans. Originally what I was telling you is I was going to take a sheet of plywood and put it behind the shiplap on the wall. But I decided that that's going to look kind of weird because it's going to already be sticking off the wall, you know, this much, and then a 1/4 inch sheet of plywood behind it. It's going to be sticking off the wall quite a bit. So I was like, you know what? Nah, we're not doing that. So it would look ugly with that. It would just look bad, I think. So we're not going to do that. But what I am going to do is trim off the bottom piece, that lip that you're going to see, that you would see on the very bottom piece. Excuse me. We're going to trim that off. So, and then we're also going to cut the top piece off just to kind of make it a little bit more narrow. Because originally, like I said, we were working with a 66-inch piece, 66 inches tall. So, but if we take off the bottom and the top, we'll be looking at 66 and a half, which, by the way, is just perfect enough to make it where we can do a nice border. Sorry, I had to think of the word. So first thing we're going to do is we're going to cut this where it needs to be. And this is just a piece of scrap that I had left over. I had plenty of that. Luckily, it's only 3 pieces that I had to cut. If you've made it this far, I appreciate you hanging in there with me. Go ahead and hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. Like us on Facebook and follow us on Instagram, and then check out my Store Frontier page. Thanks for watching. All right, so I went ahead and got everything cut up and laid out, and then I went ahead and numbered each individual board with its own number according to which row it's in, and then the number that it goes in from left to right. I'll go ahead and pre-apologize for any noise you can hear in the background. That's our dogs walking around on our hardwood flooring. And then, of course, my wife and my kid are home, so they're going to be making noise. My kid's probably going to be coming in here just a few minutes to want to be in the video, and I'll probably let her help me just to say that she's been on YouTube. Alright, y'all, so got it done. This little project only took a few hours, but man, it was a lot of work. What a pain. It was a lot. This is the last time I do anything my wife asked me to do. I'm just kidding. So, anyways, but I did enjoy getting it hung up there. Let my daughter help me out a little bit. So that was her running around here dancing and stuff. So you'll probably see her in the video somewhere. But anyways, once we get all the cast iron hung up, it's gonna look really good. Just to kind of give you a reference point, I'm like 5'6", and I mean, yeah, so it's pretty big. So I'm probably gonna have to have a ladder to hang some stuff. Probably have to keep a ladder in the house just for this. But anyways, let me know what you guys think down in the comment section. I appreciate it. If you haven't already, hit that subscribe button. Like us on Facebook, follow us on Instagram, and check out my Store Frontier page where I will leave a link down in the description. Y'all be good. I'll see y'all on the next one. So each, damn it.
It won't happen again.
Yeah. Now I'm laughing. This is useless.
I'm just gonna do laundry. You're right, it's useless.
Make sure your butt's not showing towards the camera.
I saw crap.
Did you?
Yeah.
Right.